Alright, so I've got the camera just kind of positioned so I can sort of maneuver here without having to hold my phone. Okay, so I'm going to try to turn this guy over, and oh, you can actually see quite a bit. Oh, there's some good size maggots under there. They do like to hide out in areas where there's a lot of moisture, so you can see that once the carcass has been moved, they actually are trying to hide again because they're quite vulnerable if they're out in the open. So if I flip this over, you can see quite a bit of movement. There's ants. I've got some sort of a flying beetle-like. There's different kinds of ants. The tissue itself is, it's actually quite flimsy at this point. We have a lot of cell lysis happening, where the cells kind of break apart. I'm going to try to collect up a couple of our maggots that were trying to squirm away, see if I can get them. Looks like they were sort of trying to get her out of here. I probably should have got them as soon as I moved this, because now I might not be able to find them. They sort of went into hiding pretty quick. I'll see if I can find any that are actually tucked up in there. There are a lot actually. I don't know if I'm going to be able to collect them without doing some serious dissection. So you actually can kind of see quite a few maggots that are moving around within the inside of this carcass. Let me see if I can get a couple. Alright, here's one that's not going to be able to get away from me. Alright, so I'm going to take this maggot, kind of see him here, and I'm just going to put him in a, oops, I'm going to put him in a collection cup, and we'll bring him inside and see if we can identify what species this is and what stage it's in. So that looks like one of the larger ones that we're seeing. We actually have quite a few that look to be about that same size. It looks like maybe inside the carcass we have maybe different stages, but that looks to be quite a big size. So I'm guessing third instar, likely third migrating instar. So it was probably getting to the point where it was about to sort of bury itself. I'll see if I can find any pupa. Typically we would actually take a big section of this ground and see if we can find any pupa there. So we'd kind of shovel out a section. Now I'm not seeing any right now, however I might not be able to, because again I don't have a big shovel. I'm not digging through here. I'm just seeing if there's any sort of close to the surface. I don't at this point see any that are easily visible. Okay, so I'm going to put this carcass back. It's had more scavenging. You can see even more of the chicken is gone. So the whole, almost the whole top and left side is lost. Some scavengers have gotten into here and they've actually plucked out some of the organs, which are laying. I sort of showed you those already. They're sort of lying off to the side here. Okay, so we are going to take our little maggot sample inside, see if we can identify what kind of maggot he is. Okay, so we're back inside. We've got our maggot that was collected from outside, and we are going to go ahead and take a look with the dissecting microscope. We have a digital one, so we can kind of see up close and personal what's happening with this larva. Again, this appears just at quick glance to be a third migrating instar. So remember, it starts off as egg, first instar, second instar, third feeding, third migrating, then it'll develop from this stage to a pupa, and then it will emerge out of the pupa casing as a full-sized adult fly. I'm assuming this one's probably a green bottle fly. However, I haven't done species identification. We'll have to look at the spiracles to do that. So I'm going to show you how we can identify species looking at posterior spiracles. So give me 2 seconds while I get this camera set up to be able to view it, and you guys can see as well. So here we have our maggot. I keep saying maggot. The technical name is actually a larva. So let me try to find the larva. He keeps trying to move around because he really doesn't like being out in the light. So right now he's moving. His anterior end, or the front end, is what's moving first. So it's going head first right now, and I keep trying to get him in the field of view because he keeps squirming. He's pretty unhappy at this point, trying to find a nice hiding spot. So you can see the mouth hooks at the very front. They're those kind of black kind of pointy pieces at the very front. Posterior end is a little bit of a flatter end. That is actually just a piece of what looks like maybe dirt on the back side there. That's not a posterior spiracle, it's just a piece of probably a little bit of dirt. Now if we were to look sort of on the end part of that posterior spiracle, I'll try to get a couple images so I can show you that. That's on the posterior end, you'll be able to see a few tiny little circular parts. Those are the spiracles. The number of circles, the shape, the size, and the length of those spiracles will help you identify what type of species of fly this is. Okay, and so again, we've got anterior side, I keep saying he, it's not necessarily he. It's got a lot of movement right now. Again, it's probably in that third migrating phase where it's trying to find a nice cozy place to hide. It's already probably filled up on all the food it could possibly take in. That's why its large size, especially in the midsection, is quite large. So it's basically consumed as much as it can to make it through the starvation period as a pupa, and then it will eventually emerge as an adult fly. Now I have the light on. If I turn the light off, it might try not to move around quite as fast. So let's see if we can turn that light down. Okay, so again, here's our maggot, third migrating instar. If we were to see just this kind and nothing older, if we were not able to find any pupa, which actually could be the case, I did not see any pupa there, though I didn't dig as much as the typical entomologist would, but I didn't see any pupa. The fact that we have third migrating instar but no pupa is a good indicator for us to be able to determine the time of death, or the time since death. So remember, it takes 1 day to go from eggs to first instar, 1 day to go from first instar to second instar, and then 1 day for it to go to from second to third instar, but then it's in the third instar for about a week. And so we're on day 9, and so that's right on target for this being our third migrating instar. After that week is up, then we'll start seeing some pupa. So we're not quite there yet, so I'm not surprised we haven't seen any pupa. All right, and there we have it. I will probably return this little critter back to the carcass so he can kind of go on living his life.